You are listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
And we, Eldar, masters of hindsight, insight, and foresight, are bound that much more tightly to our duty than the ignorant, the belligerent, the blind.
All right, we're back with another episode of Cult of Lore, guys. Hey, welcome back.
Yay, and it's good to be back.
It is. We're going to kind of wrap up the Eldar with a volume 3. It's going to tie in, we're going to tie up some loose ends and just kind of leave you with where they're at, what they're doing, and then move on because ain't nobody got time for these guys. Just saying.
Just saying, you know.
No, this has been more interesting for me than the last part is getting into the kind of the who's and the what's.
You know, I have to say the same, you know, because we divided up our research.
Yep, it's just us tonight.
Yep, just
and
the
so
two of us.
We took 2. We meant to split a third, and we both flummoxed on it completely separately.
Yeah,
so we're gonna save that and turn it into a chapter.
Yes.
So since we flubbed on that, we won't even tell you what it was. That way, you won't even know.
Yeah, you won't miss it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you're all biting at the bit for more Eldar stuff.
You're not. Yeah, you're not. You're not. We're not. It's fine.
It's fine.
But you still have to cover them. They do deserve their due respect.
Yeah.
By giving the time and the energy, and so we're covering them. So where we left off was they had fallen, and they were living on these craft worlds, and the Imperium had risen, and the Eldar were all stuffy about it because they don't like the monkeys,
As the Eldari would
as
call
the Eldar would
humans.
call us. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's their version of the you know what word.
Oh my.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know what? They love it. I've read 2 books with Eldar in them now, and it wasn't an Eldar book. One was Legion, the Alpha Legion book from the Horus Heresy series, and the other one was the Night Lord, the Soul Hunter. No, Voidstalker, the final book in the Night Lords trilogy. It had Eldar in it, and boy, do they love that word. They monkey this, monkey that. Like, I mean, it's funny because you would think that they're so elegant that it would just be something they drop as like a power move. Hell no. They take every opportunity to remind every human being that that's what they are.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, like, just when I'm starting to kind of think they're cool, I get reminded of what just snooty assholes they are.
Yeah, that's the thing. When looking into the Eldar, you have to be very careful at the angle at which you study them.
Yeah.
If you study them primarily from their point of view, they come out looking relatively good. But if you read books that have interactions with them, with the lower races, it paints a completely different picture.
Yeah. The lower races is kind of the key word there, isn't it?
It is.
Exactly how
and
they
that
look
is
at everything
exactly,
else.
yes.
Yeah.
And I believe they even refer to them as such.
Oh, yep. It's like in their culture. We're fucking.
But in this, but today we're going to wrap things up by talking about 2 specific groups that are outliers in this.
Yes.
That's not to say that they don't view human beings as lesser beings.
Right.
Some of them, in fact, don't,
Right.
though. So it's a mixed bag with these groups of both, I think.
Yeah.
But the point is that not all Eldar are like this, and they have the propensity to be different.
Right. And they'll find their reasons to work with
human beings, and even try to really help them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But again, this is Warhammer. Everything comes with an asterisk and a but. The Eldar, no matter who they are, whether they be the Harlequins, which we're going to talk about, or the Ynnari, or the Craft World Eldar, or the Dark Eldar, every iteration, they only will help up to a point at which they think that it's not beneficial to them anymore.
Right.
And then they will pull everything out and just retreat and leave you high and dry.
Say fuck it, because the value of one Eldar life exceeds the value of a human life by like
and any other race's
and
life.
Anything else by like orders of magnitude.
I think it's 1,000 to 1, literally.
At the very least. Yeah.
But the Ynnari, which Eric, you're going to talk about, they had, and you know what? It's actually, now that I'm saying that, the Harlequins were there too. So these two groups had a moment that was put up or shut up, and they put up, and that was the return of the Primarch.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
That was a real time where you were going to have to fight and die. And both groups, the Ynnari and the Harlequins, absolutely did. So it's not that they're not willing to lay down their lives.
Right.
They absolutely will, and they absolutely have.
Absolutely, but it kind of always is for something that will ultimately benefit them.
Yeah. Yes. There's not an ounce of altruism in them.
Even in the Ynnari's case.
No.
Yeah.
So that being said, let's get into it. So who are the Harlequins and the Ynnari? I'll go first because the Ynnari are kind of the most up and coming, kind of new to the map guys. We cover, if you listen to our Imperium volume 4?
Perhaps 4. Yeah.
I believe 4 was the last one.
That was kind of us getting up to date with the Imperium.
Correct.
So that would have been.
So I believe it was volume 4. We talked about the Ynnari. So this is going to have some repeats, but you know what? Everything's got to be completed and it's got to be in there one way or another. So we're going to do it again. And I'm sure Eric's going to come across some shit that I didn't, because I approached it largely from the point of view of the Imperium.
Right. Which had that impact on them through the Primarch. And I'm going to be covering more of the background stuff. So I'm actually not going to touch on that so much.
Right. And I can touch on it at the end just to do just to have it in where people.
Yeah.
But we'll begin with the Harlequins. So who are the Harlequins? The Harlequins are actually, in my opinion, they're the part of the Eldar minus the Ynnari, because the Ynnari haven't been around long enough to, I think, really settle in as a major player yet. We'll see what happens with them. But the Harlequins, in my opinion, are the faction that the Eldar bring to 40K that is uniquely 40K. I think the Imperium, for the Imperium, it's the Primarchs and the Space Marines. For the Orcs, we'll find out because they're next. But anyway, I'm sure there's like a one thing about actually, in my opinion, it might just be the whole Orc race because it's so uniquely different. But each faction seems to have a thing that is uniquely, even more so than the rest of it, 40K. And for the Eldar proper, I think it's the Harlequins. So who are the Harlequins? The Harlequins are the special forces and historian / performers of the Eldar. They are they're also known as the Ghosts in the Webway. They were hiding in the Webway when the whole birth of Slaanesh went down.
That whole Eye of Terror thing.
Yep, that tiny little fuck up. Their god, the god that they worship, is known as the Laughing God. His name is Sigurath. Sigurath. Yeah. Cegorach.
I liked your pronunciation.
Sigurath.
Yeah. And or the Laughing God.
The Laughing God. But he was the last one to go up against Slaanesh in the battle, and he was the only one proper to survive.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he retreated into the Webway and took his followers with him.
Okay.
And they vanished. And what happened during this time, nobody seems to really know. But at some point, and there's documents of the battle, I didn't write it down because I found it at the last minute, but that's okay. We'll probably revisit this. They just showed up, and they were just this force that just came out of nowhere and just decimated this group of demons. And the Eldar were like, who the fuck are you? And then we're the Harlequins, and this is what we do. They're like, okay. So whatever went down at that time made them incredibly lethal. And it seems like the Harlequins are stronger and faster than even the regular Eldar. They seem to be endowed with their god somehow. Like it imbued them with some sort of strength.
Okay.
So they are, as I said, they're warriors and they're fighters, but they're also historians and performers. They're like Circus Olay is a good comparable human performance.
Yeah, like all that acrobatic
storytelling,
really flashy.
With opera, where it's like the music and the movement is telling the story, and the color, not the actual like what they're speaking. Although I believe they also speak and sing. I think it's like a whole performance.
Wow.
But they're very physical and like operatic and flying through the air and somersaulting. And all the while they're wearing these things called hollow suits.
Hollow suits.
And the picture of them will be right around here somewhere in this general area. And it looks multicolored. It looks like a patchwork quilt of all these different colors, these yellows and reds and purples and greens. And it looks like a bodysuit. There's another type of Eldar that has this, but it's a coat. It's like a trench. I like it. It's a trench coat with a hood. They're called the solitaires. We'll get to them.
Solitaires, okay.
But anyway, what this bodysuit does, it's very tight fitting. It doesn't have any armor in it. And this is also what they wear into battle. And what this does is it's movement activated. The faster you move and the more acrobatic you move, the more intense this effect becomes. But it actually renders everything inside of a 20-foot radius of the person into holographic, brightly colored fractal patterns.
Oh, what? It's like a...
Imagine, like when you look into a kaleidoscope?
Uh-huh.
Imagine that in a 3D space. Okay. So imagine a kaleidoscope, and those firecrackers that you set off, and they bounce around on the ground while burning bright colors.
Uh-huh.
Imagine that type of movement, but it looks like a 3D version of the fractal pattern inside of a kaleidoscope.
Holy crap.
But what it actually is this souped up, methed out Eldar with swords and this thing called the Harlequins kiss.
Ooh.
And we'll get to that. But the more they move and the more they dance, the brighter and more intense this pulsing fractal 3D image becomes.
Uh-huh.
And that's what they're like in battle.
Oh my God. That sounds overwhelming.
It is. It's completely overwhelming. And when they stop moving, it then renders them like, it then copies the surrounding background and then renders them invisible.
Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me.
No.
That's crazy. So they could just suddenly be there like disco ball times a million, and then
correct,
gone.
And then also while they're doing that, they have on these masks. Now the masks are very like old school stage performer masks. The really elongated jaw and big hooked nose. They're like that, but that's what they look like. But what they do is they psychically render the image of whatever your utmost fear is. And it's a constantly morphing mass of whatever that is.
Whoa.
And so that's the only thing that's not rendered by this suit. So when you see it coming at you, you see this face amongst all this fractal pattern.
Holy shit.
And it's whatever your utmost fear is what it portrays back at you.
Oh, that's terrifying. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's got to be an intense.
Seriously. Wow.
It's like a demonically bladed Tinkerbell that's just bouncing all over the fucking battlefield, just slicing and dicing and hitting things with this Harlequin's kiss. Now I've mentioned this twice. This is a weapon that is exclusively to the Harlequins. Nobody else uses this, not other Eldar. I believe it's actually kind of forbidden. Like you're not allowed to.
Wow.
And what this is a giant tube with a point on the end that is attached to their wrist and their forearm, and it goes out about probably 4 or 5 feet.
Okay.
It's pretty decently long when it's fully extended, and it's basically a giant hypodermic needle. And what it does is where it's hooked onto their forearm, it has a tank of liquid. And what this is, it's called monofilament wire.
Monofilament wire.
Right. Okay, so put our suspension of disbelief hats on, people. This is one of those things, but this is pretty fucking cool. And what it does is this liquid, it's actually liquid razor wire.
Liquid razor wire.
And the amount of liquid that it contains equals to about 100 meters or 328 feet worth of this wire.
Okay.
And the reason why it's kept liquid is because it's so sharp. If it was kept solid, it would actually shred through
their arm and everything.
So it's got some sort of of when it goes out, it cools it, which turns it into the wire.
Holy shit.
And then when they retract it, it heats it back up and turns it back into a liquid again.
Melts it.
That's the best that I can
cool.
I'm filling in some gaps because I don't think they've ever actually gone into exact detail how this works, right? But this is kind of how it would have to work.
But it's like liquid when it's contained.
Yep.
And
then
it's cooled fast enough
to become this razor wire.
Whoa.
And so and it also has an engine. It has a motor, some sort of motor to it, or it's movable by some way. And so what happens is they punch through whatever armor or just you
with the needle,
needle, and then they explode out this monofilament wire, all 100 meter of it. And it goes inside your body because, it's already punched through, or it can penetrate enough to go into your body. And then all of it spins.
Oh, like a blender.
Yeah. Well, so I found two different accounts, actually. They said it spins, and the other one uses the word undulation, which is more like a wavy octopus flaving.
Wow.
And so you have to remember, it's so sharp that it would just cut through their arm just sitting there. So what this does is it completely liquefies everything inside of them, and then it just retracts back and they pull the blade out.
And this happens really fast.
This is in quarters of a second, blinks of an eye.
You're alive, and then you're suddenly dead.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's a horrible way to die, but a quick one.
But real quick, yeah, because you're a milkshake on the inside.
But also, I can imagine scenarios imagine if you're in a tank and you have that viewport and they just shove it through there and then just let 328 feet worth of razor wire start flinging inside of the cab.
Just slice up everything inside of
that would be a painful way to die.
Wow. Yeah, it would, because it wouldn't be nearly as quick as if it was
on the inside,
originating inside of your body.
Correct.
Wow. It would have to try to cut through your armor and everything. Man, you'd just have thousands of cuts on you.
Yeah.
It
would be like being inside of a tornado that got caught in a barbed wire fence.
Yeah.
It would just be terrible.
Wow.
And so all of this is combined into what makes the Harlequin such a fucking nightmare.
They're fucking terrifying.
Yeah, they are.
Holy shit.
And so inside of them, they have an even bigger special forces, which is called the Solitaire. And the Solitaire is literally just a single Harlequin. Now, how this Harlequin is chosen, I've not been able to find. Let us know if you know. If you know, let me know. I want to know because I couldn't find it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not out there.
But
I'm
help
just
us
saying,
learn.
Help us learn. Yeah, I'm interested in if there is a selection process. But they do say that it is the strongest, most powerful, and most incorruptible of all the Harlequins. And then they sacrifice their soul to Slaanesh willingly.
Whoa.
And it gives them some sort of extra power boost. Now, this is an honored position because they also serve a different purpose. We've gotten into the warrior aspect of the Harlequins, the performer and historian side of them. They travel around in what's called, it's not troops. I want to say it's troops, but it's not troops. It's,
you're right. It's troops.
Oh, I can't remember.
It's troops.
Are you sure it's not troops?
It's not. So a troop is troop is like a squad.
No,
it's an even smaller, but they travel around in these groups. Future Eric, help me!
It's true. You know what? Fine. All right. No, I'll help. Hey, Future Ben. Why don't you come on over here?
What are you doing?
Tell them.
The word I'm looking for is troops. It has always been troops.
Mm-hmm.
It will always be troops.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies to Future Eric for taking up his time with this fuckery. That is all.
Very good. Thank you for that perfectly natural and spontaneous message that was not scripted for you at all. Carry on with the episode, boys.
The Solitaire joins this group at their own leisure, and they only have one job outside of battle. And these groups go around, and they go around to everybody. They go around to the Ynnari, they go around to the Craftworld Eldar, they even go to the Dark Eldar and the Homunculus to tell the tales of their history, and everybody knows that it's fucking hands off with these guys. Nobody touches them. Nobody fucks with them. It's not worth it. They're not worth it. The homunculus won't touch them. It's not worth their trouble. Like, they don't want to start any shit with them.
Holy shit.
But the solitaire is even more so because the solitaire only performs in one story and only has one role.
Whoa.
And they play Slaanesh.
What?
When they tell the story of the fall of the Eldar, which is to the Eldar the most important story.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, so we're gonna shout out a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Voldemort.
Voldemort.
We'll put a link to his channel, and we're gonna have his emblem, which is a servitor skull. We're gonna have it right here. He is awesome. He's one you're gonna hear us talk about quite a bit, and we're not cloud seeking or anything like that. The guy is just awesome when it comes to narration. He's got a voice that is just whew.
Yeah.
And
seriously.
and he's a fabulous personality. The guy does it for the love of it. He just launched a new channel that's talking about dinosaurs and natural history. So we'll put a link to that too. Because he would want us to do that. So we're going to do that for him. But look up his thing on Harlequins. He actually narrates their performance of this story.
Oh, that's cool.
And
his voice
is so good for it.
Holy cow.
But it really puts in perspective just how serious the Eldar take the story.
Ooh,
and so the solitaire plays Slaanesh. And this is all they do. And it's considered to be a role that terrifies everybody. And that
makes sense.
Talking to a solitaire, they say, is tantamount to the worst death that you can imagine. Like, they just have this aura of awfulness to them, but it's this weird respect as well.
Right. It's a reverence because they're taking on something that no one else would dare to do.
Right.
Really, because, man, when you work in theater, like, theater belongs to Slaanesh. Like, you know what I mean?
Correct.
Like,
she's the god of performance and
her. So you're already walking a fine line that you have to keep your mind real straight with, and then you just start taking on the role of the very thing that you're trying to keep your balance against.
Right. And these things and they are so if the Harlequins are like 50 Eldar to 1, right? Then the solitaire are 50 Harlequins to 1. Yeah. They're just these indomitable forces because they're blessed by their god and probably Slaanesh.
Wow.
So they wear this, instead of a hollow suit, they wear like the hollow trench coat that's got a hood, and they wear a mask that is the mask of Slaanesh. I would be incredibly interested to know what they look like under those, because I bet there's some corruption going on there.
Man.
I bet there's
you don't see what they look like.
I don't think anybody does.
That is so cool. That has like vibes of like kind of what really, really ancient shamanism used to be, because it was like that person was the one kind of stepping into the kind of quote unquote other world or underworld,
right,
and living like half there on behalf of the community. Like it was honored because it was a sacrifice, and then they also were kind of like, you know, scary to the, you know, their people sometimes. Like,
and it also plays on like the classic tragedy heartstrings. Like you see a lot of echoes of, say, Phantom of the Opera with that, right? The monster underneath the performance.
Yeah.
That kind of thing always really gives a sense of tragedy,
right?
Because they are hiding and trying to portray this outer thing that they're not.
Yeah.
But the solitaires definitely. I'm going to look more into them and find out. I wonder if there's any named ones and any good stories there. I'm gonna see if I can find enough to do a chapter on the solitaires by themselves.
Ooh, okay.
Because there's some cool stuff there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in them.
It sounds very neat. I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So that's the Harlequins. I like them. I think they're really cool. I'm going to touch on what part they played with the resurrection of Gilliman here at the end. We'll touch on that. I'll do a 30,000 foot overview. I'll do a speed run, but I'll try to make it at least a little fun. But with that, Eric, why don't you tell us about the Ynnari?
All right. So the Ynnari are a relatively new, I'll call it movement, because it's pretty much a religion.
We would call it a cult.
A cult, right? Yeah, we would. And I guess what I'll do is I'll start with a little bit of background that kind of like why the Ynnari are doing what they're doing, because they're goal oriented. They have a very distinct goal. So but some background here. The craft world Eldar, I guess, like overall believed that, so it sounds like they kind of believed that eventually all of the infinity circuits would birth a new god for them. And that it would happen when all of the remaining Eldar souls had gone into the infinity circuits.
Oh my God.
So they'd have to be like wiped out, basically.
So can you imagine, like, the Ynnari are kind of dabbling with the Imperium, right?
Uh-huh.
And they have the Mechanicum. What do you think the Mechanicum's reaction to a god being birthed from the circuitry
of like ships, like massive ships that already
that
have
would
an
to
intelligence
them?
of their
I mean,
own.
I don't. Yeah,
Holy cow!
I don't know how they would view that.
Yeah,
It would either be like watching their god be born, or it'd be like watching, I don't know,
Like-
Satan crawl out of the ground.
like the Antichrist.
Yeah.
just come.
That would.
Oh, that's a good thought. That's a cool idea.
I hope we live long enough for Games Workshop to actually get there.
It might happen in like the next century or so.
It might. It might.
Holy cow, that's a cool thought.
Yeah.
So apparently that's what most Eldar seemed to believe. And then this entity that would be born, like, would be the challenger to Slaanesh.
It would be the
eventually kill
anti-Slaanesh.
Slaanesh, yeah. So thus kind of saving the Eldar, and they'd be reincarnated basically as this entity that's been apparently growing in the warp.
So I'm going to show a bit of my age. The only thing I can picture is, do you remember I'm going to segue off this hardcore, but it's fine. Do you remember the Val Kilmer Batman, the Batman Forever with Jim Carrey? And
Wow, we are way out. Okay.
We're going to go out on a limb, but I'll circle it back, I promise.
I know the movie you're talking
Trust me,
about.
with the pictures that are going to be right here and here, you'll get what I'm getting at.
Okay. Oh, no.
So, Two-Face has the two chicks in the background. One's like all leather and nasty, and then the other one's the white with the feathers.
Yeah,
It's
like
the
Sugar
two
and
Eldar
Spice or
gods
something.
next to each other. There's Slaanesh, and there's the Ynnari god. They're both into sex somehow, but one's trying to play it heavenly. Like,
Oh my gosh.
that image just popped into my head, and so now I have to
And
share it.
there you have it. Now we've shared it with you, and you're welcome. For
You
that.
can. I'm going to wait with bated breath to watch the analytics of people just dive bombing the fuck out of this video at that point.
Oh my gosh.
Abandoned ship.
We're leaving now.
Anyway, new god.
So that's the theory. There will be a new god once there are no more Eldar. Great plan, right?
I mean, I'm not horribly against it.
Yeah. But there's some Eldar that really didn't like that plan.
Well, I mean, yeah, they don't have a great history of birthing gods.
Right. They want to do it again. That's their idea.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm going to start at the end of my notes.
Makes
with
sense.
An Eldar named Eldrad Uthrain, who is actually connected to Craftworld Uthway.
Okay.
I believe he was of some authority there. I didn't look deep enough to find out, I think. But he was...
yeah, I imagine. His name is... I think it's named after him.
So this guy had a plan to awaken the death god Ynnade.
Ynnade.
Yeah, Ynnead, which
Ynnade.
Ynnade.
I believe the most consistent pronunciation I've heard was Ynnade.
Very well. Henceforth, that shall be how I pronounce it.
And yeah,
Yep.
listen, we'll change. Help us out if we're getting it wrong.
Right. Also known as the Whispering God. He wanted to wake him up prematurely through a ritual on a crystal moon called Koharia.
Boy, that sounds like all bad. Nothing good happens when you wake something up early.
Yeah, exactly. And another problem was that this moon was owned by the Imperium of Man.
Yeah, that'll put a bunch in your knickers.
Yeah, so they didn't like that. And there was this big fight, and the Death Watch came in and really disrupted the ritual.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the Death Watch are the enforcement wing of the Imperium, of the Inquisition. I mean, they are selected from all of the different Space Marine chapters, and each chapter has to serve a certain amount of guys up to the Inquisition. They work for them, and then when their time is done, they can go back home.
Okay.
That's the Death Watch.
There we go. And they
30,000 foot overview. We'll do a chapter on them because they're actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's the only time you get to see like all of the tactics of the different Space Marine chapters and things all rolled into one group.
Ooh, that will be fun.
Yeah, so we'll get to them for sure.
Nice. So they fucked things up for this poor guy. and the
I don't feel
ritual
bad
wasn't
for him.
really completed, but it kind of partially succeeded, which we'll see in a moment, because that's kind of what takes us out of the background into more of what's going on. There is a Eldar by the name of Yvraine, and she had quite an adventurous life. She walked many of the paths, from like warrior, warlock, stuff
Sure.
like that.
Well lived.
Yeah, but eventually became an outcast and wound herself up as a gladiator in Camarage.
Ooh, which is the home of the Dark Eldar.
Yes.
That had to be a shitty life.
Yeah. And
she fucked up somewhere.
I know.
Unless she chose that. I mean, it might be some sort of pilgrimage.
I don't know. She chose to be a corsair.
Okay, which is a pirate.
Outcast, yeah. And then something got fucked up with the webway. And
okay, so she was captured. Yeah, that was not willing. Okay.
No, I didn't.
Most people don't willingly bring themselves to the Dark Eldar, but there are crazy fucks out there.
And apparently she did pretty well for a while as a gladiator, but was eventually just kind of worn down in a final fight and was slain. And this timed up pretty well with the failed ritual that our boy Eldrad Uthrain was trying to pull off.
Okay. So the moment they tried, she died the moment that ritual went tits
there was
up.
enough of the Whispering God awake at that point to resurrect her. Right there in the middle of Camarage.
Ooh.
Which
I'm surprised the homunculus were like, bring me the girl.
Yeah. I don't know that they had a chance, because then there was that caused a disjunction, which is when the warp melds with the webway and allows all sorts of demon fuckery to go down. So there was a bunch of chaos.
There was a demon incursion right in the middle of Camarage.
Yeah. And
can you imagine? I bet the homunculus were like, what is that? What is that?
What is going on?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Who brought that into the house? Take it back where you found it.
Yeah. So it sounds like absolute chaos. She then escaped with the help of, he's noted as the Visarch. He has a name. I didn't write it down because he's mostly referred to as the Visarch.
The Visarch.
And he's an old friend of hers. He knew her way back when she was just
a wee mortal,
the warrior, he taught her the sword, I think.
Oh,
yeah, he's like a priest, basically a priest of a shrine, to warrior stuff.
He's one. So he's one of those the lost.
Yeah,
they are the ones we mentioned in the previous episode. They're the ones that follow a path too long and can't become addicted to that path. And so rather than condemning them for it, the Eldar have just created permanent positions for them, teaching others the way to do that path.
Okay.
So that's this guy.
Well,
they're called the Lost.
The Lost. Well, that's interesting because he did end up, for Yvraine, breaking his path, which was pretty unconventional. So
right.
She pulled him out of some deep.
Yeah. So there you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, when she ran off, basically to become an outcast and a corsair, that he, you know what I mean? He had such a connection with her, it really fucked him up. And when she turned up in Camarage, he went there, and I think he posed as an incubus or something. So it broke him out of that deeply entrenched path then. So anyway, he ended up there and helped her escape and kind of joined this party of, there's about 4 or 5 of these guys that I have to talk about each one because they're so impactful to the movement, because that's kind of what got the movement going.
Of course. Right. Well, I mean,
Ynnari.
It's a group.
Yeah. And so they have this goal. They need to, they want to wake up the death god, the Whispering God, all the way without sacrificing all of those Eldar lives.
Well, I mean,
and what they found out they could do is there exists 5 crone swords. And I'll get into those. What is a crone sword? Crone sword is a weapon that was forged by Vol, according to legend, but was made from the 5 fingers of Morai Heg, which is another one of their gods. Sounds kind of crony, right?
Yeah.
She tricked. There's just a lot of gods attached to these swords, because she had tricked Cain. Is it
Caleb mentioned Cain?
Yeah, into cutting off her hand, which was then gathered up by Vol, who made these weapons. Why did she?
She had to trick him into doing it.
I know, and I don't know what she did to trick him. But why she wanted to do it was so that she could drink her own blood and obtain its wisdom. Interesting, right?
See, I always go to I always go back to where they're not actually gods. They're technology that gains sentience. So when I hear that,
it sounds kind of like what would she have been? Oh, what would she have been?
I don't know. Like,
I don't know enough about her.
I don't know.
But she produced 5 basically swords of immense power from that. There was some sort of sacrifice then, so something got cut off of something.
So
and was given to the forge guy.
I'm gonna reach. What if she was like some sort of defense system, and Cain was like was some sort of offensive system,
right?
And she had a lock on her of some sort because of AI getting too power, whatever reason the Eldar would do that, and then they were under attack, and she convinced Cain to help destroy that whatever that lock was.
Okay,
so that she can essentially double her own intelligence.
And there you have it. We have a theory.
I have no idea. I mean, so it can be any fucking thing, but it's cool. I find it cool to speculate.
Well, yeah, and we should do an episode. I keep saying it. We'll do a chapter on their gods, and we'll really explore this idea.
Sure, we'll try.
What the potential.
I think what we should do is we should look at each of the gods ourselves, and then we should each come with a kind of a hypothetical of what we think they were before they were gods.
Right, because it is very distinctly like Eldar mythology that these guys exist in.
Correct,
and it doesn't always match history.
No,
yeah, at least not as the Imperium and other races.
No, and even the Eldar, I think, are kind of sometimes they're willing to kind of say like,
right, yeah,
ish.
But anyway, we digress.
Absolutely.
So these crone swords were produced, and apparently, if they were all gathered together in one place in real space, and a ritual was performed, it would birth Ynnid to his full power so that he could take on and slay Slaanesh. And then henceforth, all of the souls of the Eldar would go to him.
Yeah, but then I have to wonder, I'm like, so then would we trade out a pleasure god for a death god?
Yeah, basically.
Is that a plus?
For them, it kind of is. Like, I read something that said that an afterlife with him would be basically like heaven, hell, and purgatory all at once for their souls.
Yeah. That was when they were dealing with him before he would go into the warp and be...
Yeah. Right.
I
don't know.
I see flaws. I see flaws, you snooty bastards. I see flaws. Anyway.
So, these crone swords, I'm going to go down a list, and it's going to be fun listening to me try to pronounce this shit. So there is first the Kavir, the Sword of Sorrows, which is wielded by Ynnari.
Okay, so she's got that one.
Yep, and with it turns her victims into ash. That's its big power.
Okay.
The next sword is Asuvar, Sword of Silent Screams.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's wielded by the Visarch, who I mentioned earlier.
Her second in command, I'm assuming.
And but before that, it was held in Craft World Beltan. Yeah. And it apparently absorbs the life essence out of the people it kills.
Oh, that sucks.
Fun, right? It sucks. It kind of does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dad joke snuck one in, huh? Next we have Vilith Zar. I'm just going to own these mispronunciations.
It's fine.
The Sword of Souls, wielded by, Ynkarn. Oh, yeah, Ynkarn, who we'll get to in a moment.
Okay.
It is apparently a shape-shifting sword, and it's apparently the most powerful of the blades, although I couldn't find specifically what it was. But
if it's shape-shifting, then can you call it a sword?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what shape-shifting really means. I didn't get that far with it. But this guy, Ynkarn, is actually an avatar of the Whispering God.
Oh, cool.
Ynnid. Yeah, Ynnid. Thank you. He was birthed by Yvrain during a ritual that they did on Beltan when it was there was a battle. There was a battle going on, and a lot of their souls were sacrificed during their already dead souls in the
Okay.
Infinity Circuit were sacrificed into this ritual that brought about Ynnari. And he's, like I said, an avatar, an incarnation of the Whispering God Unit.
I bet he's a blast at parties. He just spells personality.
Yep. Yeah.
Fucking hell. Can you fucking imagine a death god wrapped up in the ego of an Eldar? Oh my God. I'm glad they're on our side ish.
Yeah. Well, he did save the remainder of the Infinity Circuit after he was born, and then he joined the adventures of Ynnari and Co.
Right. I'm actually looking forward to reading. I bet there's if there's not a book centered around these guys yet, I bet it's coming. I'm actually pick it up, even though I don't really care for the Eldar
it sounds
too much.
very like kind of Lord of the Rings party-esque. Their backgrounds are really neat. Like,
it has an element of that, of Will of Time.
Yeah.
This, and that's one thing that I will say I've not thought about it until now. And it could just be, let me know if I don't know about a story like this, because it's entirely possible, and I'd even say likely. Warhammer 40K does seem to be missing kind of that ragtag group of
doesn't it? And these guys are almost satisfying that.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm definitely getting tones
They're
of that.
starting to get there. Yeah. Because like the Visarch, like he's of course like a dedicated guardian now to
right. He's the old grumpy warrior.
Yeah, right, exactly. Who's like mentor and protector.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's oh my God, what was his name?
From Game of Thrones. I remember his house sigil of like the bear. Mormont. Is that who we're thinking of?
The one that protected the psycho bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mormont.
Mormont.
Yeah. That's his last name, at least.
Yeah, listen, it doesn't matter, because no matter how awesome those characters were, that show ended like ass.
I know, like enough to apparently erase my brain on it. Holy
it
crap.
Should.
Yeah.
So space better used elsewhere.
Indeed. Like here.
Yep. Anyway, but it is awesome that they're doing that.
Yeah.
And like I said, guys, if there's a story like that we don't know about, tell us about it, because I'll go check it out.
I would definitely pick that up. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued, and I'll check those out.
For sure.
So that's the first 3 Crone Swords. There is another one.
How many is there all
total?
There were
5.
5, and they've got 3.
And we've got 3. Then they came across, so they actually have this in their possession now, the Spear of Twilight. Why is it called that? I think it's a relic that existed in the lore before the Ynnari were introduced.
Okay.
Because it's described as Ynnari showing up and revealing its true shape.
And it's a sword.
And it's one of the Crone Swords.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
A little bit of retcon, a little bit of smudging. But that's okay.
Maybe.
That's all right.
My speculation.
That smells like it to me.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
Yeah. And it is now wielded by a guy named Prince. Oh, fuck me. Prince Uriel, I think. Yriel.
Uriel.
Yeah, Uriel, who's a man of Eldar. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Eldar of important rank on Craft World. Why do I try Yinden? Yep, there you go.
All right. I like it.
And actually, during a battle there, he was slain, and then Ynnari shows up, makes the Spear of Twilight reveal itself as a Crone Sword, and then stabs him with it to revive him. And he is resurrected, takes up the sword, and it sounds like he joins the cause from there.
Black Knight approves.
Yeah.
It's just a flesh wound.
Tis just a flesh wound. And now, I've mentioned 4.
Sure.
We don't know the name of the 5th.
Of course
It is
not.
an unnamed Crone Sword, and it is currently held in the Palace of Slaanesh.
Of course it is.
Yep. It was taken by a fucking keeper of secrets called Shalaxi Hellbane, and he took it there as a big fuck you, so we don't know if they're going to even be able to get that fucking thing. And they need all 5 swords in order to complete the
but with
ritual.
what they managed to do for the Imperium, can you imagine if they get the Imperium to help them lead an incursion into
into the palace?
It's Valdar, you son of a bitch.
What?
So Constantinian Valdar, who is basically the Primarch of the Custodes.
Uh-huh.
He has shown back up as what's called the King in Yellow or the King in Gold.
Oh.
And he's setting up an Imperium inside of the warp.
Jesus. What? Is he nuts?
Yes. He's a Primarch of the Custodes. Of course he's nuts.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Holy crap. Wow.
So they could use that as a launching point into the Palace of Slaanesh to get the... there's some story arcs.
That would be cool. Holy shit.
Can you imagine if Games Workshop just came out one year and they're like, folks, we're taking the story into the web, into the warp.
That would be nuts.
It's like, excuse me? Because almost all of the story happens in our world, not inside of the warp.
Right.
But, like, if you were to like, nope, we're spending a large amount of time inside of the warp. It's like, oh shit.
That would be a crazy time. That would be cool to have a series of books in there. And that's a good way to do it. Like to get them worked in. And now the Eldar definitely have cause to go in there, which would be scary enough. Because that's kind of the cool thing about the Ynnari is their message is like, it's transfactional. Like they have people coming in from all Eldar, like different craft worlds, from Harlequins, from Dark Eldar.
Oh yeah, yes, there are. Yeah. The Ynnari. I read something where the Ynnari are teaching them how to sustain themselves. The Dark Eldar.
Yeah, without
torturing.
Right. So that they can so everybody's kind of like they have a bit of everybody joining the cause. So
and then they did something big for the Imperium.
Yes. Tell us more.
Okay, so the Ynnari are basically responsible for the return of Guilliman. They found his body, or rather the Imperium found his body, and the Ynnari said, if you take him, because we're connected to the Whispering God, if you bring him to one of our worlds and you allow us to perform this ritual on him, we can bring him back. And it took an Inquisitor, I think, kidnapping his body and doing it. But what it amounted to is this giant, and again, go back to our Imperium Volume 4 if you want the complete rundown, but just this mad rush of Guilliman from this world with the Ynnari all the way to Terra. And it involves, you have the Ultramarines, the Ynnari fighting all the way. You have the Grey Knights because they come in because of the Inquisition, and they're fighting Chaos because Chaos is trying to stop Guilliman from getting to Earth. Yep. They get Guilliman's party gets taken hostage and prisoner by the Dark Eldar, and then they are then subsequently rescued from that prison by the Harlequins, who then join the troop, who manage to get them to Luna, which is the moon, where they're then intercepted by the Thousand Suns and Magnus the Red.
Holy crap.
So now you have demons, Magnus the Red, Dark Eldar, Homunculus, all charging, and the Black Legion charging at Guilliman, the Harlequins, the Ynnari, the Grey Knights, Titans, the Ultramarines, and they're all just clashing on Luna.
On the fucking moon.
On the moon.
Of Terra.
Yep.
Holy crap.
Until such time that Guilliman manages to make his escape and he gets back to the throne, banishes Magnus, and everybody kind of retreats back to their corners for a while just to see what the fuck happens with a Primarch sitting on the throne.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an intense story.
Holy crap.
And so there's more to it. That's the real quick rundown, but our Volume 4 has that on there. There's other videos. I encourage you to find as many videos on that particular story as you can, because it is an amazing story to be heard told multiple different ways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Different perspectives on that shit going down. Because I'll bet that was a big, big, big event.
Like, I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, just like
it had everything.
The stories that would come out of stuff like that.
Yeah. It like I said, it has everybody, and it has the Mechanicum, it has Titans, it has demons, it has Harlequins, it has Ynnari, it has Grey Knights, it has everything. Absolutely, 2 different Primarchs.
Yeah, he came back with a bang.
Yeah, and so we're not where the Eldar are right now is anybody's guess, because I'm not really sure what the craft world's reaction to all this is going to be.
Yeah, seriously, because I think it could be speculated that the intention is like with Gilliman in particular is like to strengthen that hold, as because they love to manipulate people into different moves. You know what I mean? And
They do.
Like they'll absolutely put you on track to fight something for them as a distraction. That's kind of what they did on that crystal moon. They talked other people into launching an attack on the actual planet as a diversion.
Oh, I'm
so
sure
they could attack and take that moon for their ritual. So
yeah, but they're working towards something.
Yeah.
And being friends with the Imperium has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. And I'll bet my vote, they're probably going to try to use the Imperium as a meat shield.
Yeah, help
That's what I
help
think.
us get to the Palace of Slanesh.
Yep. So they can and they don't care what happens probably to the Imperium beyond that. I would.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Even like these cool characters like your Varian, if I want her to like us, damn it, but I don't think
know.
she really.
We'll just have to see if we'll have to who knows? Somebody's got to break the mold, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not. This is the Grim Dark,
I know.
Sometimes just shit stays shit.
I know. It's like I don't want to hope.
I know.
I don't want to hope for a genuine
But we're here for it either way.
I know.
Either way,
absolutely.
it's either going to be good, bad, or it's going to be bad, bad.
Yeah. Either way.
Yep.
Either way, I'm yours. Drag me through it. Whatever.
Yep. And so I think with that, we're going to wrap up our look at the Eldar.
Yeah. There we go.
At least for now,
Yeah.
nothing's ever permanent in this because things are always developing. There's always new things to learn and discover. And so we will revisit them when we want.
So we'll be having chapters on them and
the different things about them.
Yep. May find that we find cause to do a volume 2, but that would be a pretty big decision to make.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, I don't
sure
foresee another. I don't see another one of those, but certainly chapters.
Yeah, definitely chapters because there's more specific stuff. But I think we've hopefully given you guys enough that if you do find that you are intrigued by the Eldar.
Yes, please do not. Do not let our kind of boo pooing this dampen your. Look into it the same as you would any other. Like if we give it a glowing review, look into it. If we're not particularly interested, look into it with the exact same amount of enthusiasm as you would something that we're not particularly partial to.
Right.
Because just because we don't find it as interesting doesn't mean that you won't.
Right.
Or that you will.
Something in Warhammer for everybody. And we've got the something. We both had our something.
We both found our something.
Just wasn't the Eldar.
It wasn't.
But it might be yours.
Yeah. And
there's some really cool stuff.
So we definitely don't want to dissuade anybody from taking a look at them.
If you like the more fantasy feel to your Warcraft, Warhammer. Good Lord, Warcraft. Sorry about that.
But
you'll definitely enjoy them.
I think and I think that might be kind of one of the things that I'm kind of tough with them is they are the fantasy version. And I'm a little bit more into the sci-fi horror.
Right. And that's, they're not so much like that. Their craft worlds have like very natural environments within them. Like I'm imagining trees and
forests.
In there. And they're very magical and,
Yeah. So, but anyway, give them a check out. Yeah. Take a look at them. We'll be visiting them again.
Yeah.
In various ways.
Definitely.
So with that, let's just get a few things wrapped up. Make sure you follow us on all of our things. What is it?
Yeah. So at Cult Talk Net is
there we go.
You'll find a lot of our other, series, Cult of Campbell, Weird Shit. We exist on podcasts now, like Spotify and tons of others.
Right.
It's a Google search away, Cult of Lore.
We are no longer just on YouTube.
Yeah, so you can listen to us when you're on the go. And
but if you are listening to us on YouTube, there's a little bell down there.
Ooh.
And a thumbs up. So hit subscribe and like, and make sure you set your notifications to on because with our channel for Cult of Lore, you also get multiple other shows. And if you don't like them, you don't have to listen to them.
Yeah, this is true.
You get Cult of Campbell. Which is all things Bruce Campbell and Evil Deady. You've got Weird Shit, which is Ian and his fucking weird history, weird stories,
like
weird fans. Yeah.
Super weird, very interesting.
We're gonna have
definitely gives you stuff to talk about.
We're gonna have another show dropping before too long. I don't know if it's been announced yet or not.
Ooh, sounds like
okay. It has. I'm getting the nod. So Cult of Conspiracy will be coming out with Bailey and. Huh?
Cult Talks Conspiracy.
Cult Talks Conspiracy. Oh my. Cult Talks Conspiracy. That's going to be with Bailey and Ty. I will probably be guest appearing on that randomly at certain times, but I don't like aluminum foil that much, so I'm going to sit that one out.
But if you do, it's going to be the show for you.
Yeah, they're going to be covering. I think they're launching with Roswell. Don't quote me on that one. I'm getting another nod. I'm 2 for 1.5.
2 for 1.5 is pretty good out of 2.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so check us out on all the things. Make sure you follow us. We're working on so I want to give a quick shout out to our music guy. And I'm using that term incredibly loosely. We've never spoken to this individual. We've tried.
We have.
If you guys know him, his name is Adrian Von Ziegler. We're gonna put we're gonna link it. We link him every time.
Every time his channel is linked in the description.
We'll if he's got a symbol for his channel, we'll put it up there just to give it a little extra push.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have noticed that you guys really like not just the quotes, but the music for the intro and outro for Cult of Lore.
Yes, which it is absolutely amazing music.
Yes, it is.
So
That's
the guy that Ben did pick that out.
I found that and dove on it like Snyder's Hounds. So. But go check him out. And you can get the full song there.
Yes.
You can buy it, listen to it. He has other, if you like that song, he's got tons and they're all really good.
Yeah. So seriously. So if you like just the very short
portion of his my God, we use 20 or 30 seconds of a 4-minute song.
Not much, and it's a great song. Like
it is.
Yeah.
You're going to be hearing it in its entirety at some point.
Right.
We're working on something there.
Something special there. But yeah, definitely go support that guy because holy cow.
Yeah, because
he makes he doesn't even know it, but he makes our intro what it is. Like
it gives it that gravitas that without it just wouldn't be the same.
Right.
And if we ever get to talk to him, I'm going to tell him how great that has been. And we've certainly seen a great reaction. So to translate that love into some views and whatever he's after over there on his channel, give him some of that love too.
Absolutely, because he's the one earning that. That's for sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to give an extra shout out to. We were noticing that music was doing good, and it has been doing good. So we wanted to try to pass that all along to the guy that actually created the music. He deserves it.
Absolutely.
So we're going to wrap it up. I've been selling you on stuff a little too long, so we're going to get the hell out of here. Stay tuned. Next time, we're actually going to be covering... I'm not telling you. But it's not Eldar. It's not something we've talked much about, if at all. So it's going to be a chapter. Jerry's going to be with us.
Woo!
Daniel and Dan might be with us. We don't know.
It's maybes.
It's a whole lot of maybes for them. But anyway, until then, I'm Ben.
I'm Eric.
And guys, thanks for joining us and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.
Bye.